to kind of get the guys away earlier than normal. They stay together. Don't have to worry about all the distractions of your family coming in, wanting tickets, and your cousins coming in, want to get on the sticks and try to keep you up all night. So we kind of keep those guys together, keep them focused, keep them looking at these scouting reports, and then you're together. So I don't mind that. I don't mind being on the road. I think it's good for the road team to come in a little bit more focused, in my opinion.
All right. Thank you, Coach, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Good morning, Coach Maynor. Caught up
Good morning,
with you
Doc.
on. It was good to be in the house and see your team perform at a high level.
Thank you.
I want a little bit about Quincy Casey. I know there's a lot of stalwarts, a lot of players made plays, but he's been progressing in your offensive scheme. What are your thoughts in terms of what he's been able to do, not just in this game, but over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, he's playing great right now. He's playing at a high level. He's taking what the defense gives him. He's getting his in out of plays, throwing to the right guy. Yeah, he's throwing on time. So he's doing all the little things that good quarterbacks has to do. And as you can see, he put up good numbers the last 2 weeks by doing that. And so as long as he can continue to play one play at a time, take what the defense gives him, he's going to continue to play well. And we look forward to it.
I know a lot of times you focus on what your team does, but obviously you look at the opponents and see matchups and things of that nature. In this case, this follow-up week is against Jackson State, Mobile, so neutral site game in that framework. But with that being said, what are the challenges in looking at a team that's coming off a bye week? You tend to be able to look at some tape and get things, but it can change a little bit after a bye week. How do you go about that framework from your opponents when they're coming off a bye week, or if anything?
It's still the same. You know, we got to take care of us. We got to be ready to play. Will they put in a couple new wrinkles? Probably so. They'll probably put in a blitz or two that we haven't seen. They'll probably put in a new play or trick play or do something that we haven't seen. They had a week off to kind of heal up, rest up. That's always good for everybody, not just them when you got an open week. So we understand, you know, they coming off an open week. So probably a little bit of advantage for those guys. They get to heal up and rest up and get an extra week to prepare for us. But at the end of the day, it's X's and O's, and we just got to be ready to play. It's going to be a great football game. TC is doing a great job with those guys. They're solid in all three phases. And, you know, it was a great game last year. We go to Mobile. And so it's a Gulf Coast challenge. It's going to be a good football game. It's going to be a good football game.
Certainly believe that. Again, congratulations on this past weekend. Look forward to the matchup. And thank you for giving me some of your time this weekend, Coach.
Thank you. No problem.
Currently taking questions for Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. If you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. Floor is now open for questions. Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Coach Maynor, this game was becoming a pretty heavy rivalry with the presence of Coach Prime at Jackson State. With him having moved on, has this game lost any of its luster?
I don't think so. You know, it's another conference game to say they on our side, we're on their side. And it's always been a competitive game. We got away from us at home coming up here 1 year, got away from them their first year there, Prime first year there. But other than that, it's always been good football games. It's always been a tough game, tough four-quarter battle. That's what we expect. It was four-quarter battle last year. We had opportunities and didn't execute down the stretch. But you got to take your hats off to them. They caused us to fumble the ball a couple of times. So that's all part of it, you know, and we look forward to it. That's why we take the game to Mobile in the Gulf City Challenge. It's becoming a great rivalry.
And Quincy Casey, with him having come from Jackson State, can you talk about what you expect out of him this weekend and where he is in that transition from Jackson State to Alabama A&M?
I don't know 100% because I can't read minds, but you know, he gonna want this game a little bit more than anybody else because he came from Jackson. And that's what I got to remind him of, that, listen, Yeah, I know it's Jackson, but it's the next game, the biggest game on the season because it's the next game, not because it's Jackson. And he has to continue to play the way he's been playing, making his reads, taking what the defense is giving him. And trust me, I would tell him this too. If you start playing outside of yourself, you will be standing beside me. Okay. I'm not going with this hero stuff, so you're going to continue to play the way you've been playing, making the reads, making your checks, doing what you're supposed to do, or you'll be beside me. Okay. And you're not going to make this personal. You're going to play this game just like you played the last two, or you'll be beside me. Simple.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Currently taking questions for Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. Next question goes to Keisha Kelly.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, Keisha, I'm doing fine. How you doing?
I was in the building too, so congratulations on the big win. And like you said, you're preparing for the next opponent. Mine is just kind of a congratulatory. Did y'all get out there and get a chance to enjoy some of the festivities? I did see you walking through the tailgate. So did you get out there to enjoy any of that festivities after that big win?
I did. Once you get a big win on Saturdays, you got Saturday, the rest of Saturday to enjoy it. And then Sunday morning, you got to get to work, correcting the film, and get ready for your next opponent. So, yeah, I got out and went tailgate a little bit. We played at 2:00, so the game was over about 5:30. And so I got out to mingle with the crowd and got a little tailgating experience. It's HBCU, man. This is what it's about. You can't do this at the big schools. HBCU, this is what it's about. I grew up in this. And so I get out there with the fans and shake hands and get some food and go around and meet people. I think that's what it's about. And I'm not too big to do that. I enjoy it.
All right. Good luck this weekend, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Jay Keith.
Hey, Coach. What kind of problems does Jackson State present at you comparing the quarterback from last year, Shedeur Sanders, compared to Brown?
Brown probably a takeoff a little more than Shedeur. He don't want to run the ball. He'd run the ball if he had to. He wanted to get that ball out of his hand, and he knew where it was going. He was going with the ball. He does an excellent job of pre-snap read, post-snap read, and getting that ball out. So, they had a couple more weapons last year with Shedeur and their receiving core than they have for Brown, but they still got some good weapons. They're still a dangerous team on offense and defense. They got a great defense, always have. And nothing has changed this year with that defense. They're very, very, very stingy. So we have to be very precise. We can't turn the ball over. And we got to take advantage of every opportunity that we get.
And Coach, following up, do you plan to try to exploit their special teams because they've been a little weak this year on special teams?
We're gonna try to be solid and make sure we stay in our lanes and make sure we block the people we're supposed to block. We did have a block punt last week, so we'll see what we'll watch a little bit more tape on their special teams, and if we think we got a spot there we can attack, we may try to attack it. But that's just football, we had a punt block early this year. People came out the hours, and so we faked a couple of times. And, so you better roll the dice and come out to me because I'll fake it on you.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Coach Maynor, as always, we appreciate your time. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Next up, we'll go to Alabama State. Coach Robinson. You see that we have Coach with us. Once again, if you do have questions, we're going to ask you please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for our coaches. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Robinson with Alabama State. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent home outing versus Alcorn State.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Appreciate you guys all coming on. Had a great SWAC game at home, had a great crowd. I think our crowd has been playing, showing up really well for us. I think the participation has been great. Urges on for a victory. We couldn't get it done. Fell short. We had a lot of opportunities. Game went into overtime. Braves made a field goal and we couldn't. So they kind of showed up like we expected they would. We knew Coach McNair have those guys playing hard for 4 quarters. Game went back and forth. a lot of close calls, a lot of coulda, shoulda, wouldas, had a late fumble that gave them a chance to kind of get back in the game, and they took advantage of those opportunities. Once the game went to overtime, we fell out a little short. So we just have to get everybody back, regroup, winning each day, get focused, and can't look at the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. What should have happened, happened. That's the message to the team. And now we got to learn how to close out games and get W's.
Appreciate those comments, Coach Robinson. We'll now open it up for questions. If you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill. Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Morning, Coach Rob.
Good morning. How's it going?
Going pretty well. You talk about the back and forth of this game. You've had a couple of these close, tight-knit games, some that go in the favor of the Hornets and others not. Just talk about the strength of the conference in regards to battling each week with close games that seem to go down the stretch. How do you continue to prepare your team to understand the need to finish plays such that you can come out on the top of things?
Yeah, it's a lot of it is situational football. We spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to close out the half, close out the games. You do a lot of 2-minute drills in practice, a lot of situational stuff, a lot of 4-minute drills, learning how to protect the football. You just can't give up a fumble in that situation. We know the kids are trying hard. They're giving us great effort, and that's the biggest thing. I think it really just comes down to sharpening your pencil. From a mental aspect, you have to really finish it out. So we'll work on that this week in practice. The end of practice, that last period, we'll call them all up. Hey, man, this is the fourth quarter right here. So let's come here and simulate it. Let's make sure we don't have any mental mistakes. The effort's there. So now we just have to make sure that we're detailing all the things we're doing in those biggest part of the game.
Next is a divisional matchup against Bethune-Cookman, coming into they're in a similar situation. What are your thoughts in terms of what they're doing on offense and how you look to exploit it, if you can, on your offensive schematic play?
Yeah, I think with us, looking back at the Alcorn game, we had some chances. Aaron had a really good game against us, quarterback for Alcorn. He made some really big throws at the end. So I think we just have to tighten up our coverage. The pass rush got there at times, but other times it didn't. So just have a more consistent pass rush. Just tighten up what we have to do in the back end. So I think right now we just have to play, better Alabama State football. I think, Coach Woody has those guys coming off a bye week. So they'll be rested, ready to play. They'll probably have another scheme or two in there. But at the end of the day, once you line up there and start playing football, they'll know what we're going to do, and we're going to figure out what they're going to do. And then the kids just have to go out there and make the plays and just excel when the moments come.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the matchup. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Next question goes to Henry Pugh.
Sorry about that. Good morning, Coach. How are you doing?
Good morning. How's it going?
Going well. I know when we spoke last week about the quarterback situation, you said that D. Davis still has a place in this offense. Bringing him in when you did in the game, was that just kind of was that plan to kind of bring in a spark, or was that kind of due to Stewart's performance?
No, it was just to bring them in the game. The plan is to play both of those guys. Both of them know they have to manage the game. Of course, if one of them is managing it better, then he'll probably play more. But I think, they have a lot of similar qualities. They both can run every play in our offensive playbook. D. Davis probably is a little bit more of an aggressive runner, and I think he enjoys running the football more. But other than that, we feel like everything is open as far as runs and passes with both of those guys, and they both deserve to play. So I think they compete hard in practice, and they push each other, and I think they compete each other in the game. But a couple of those plays when D had a long run, he maybe took a big hit. It just made sense to, hey, let's get Stu back into the game. So we kind of manage it, based on the feel of the game, and not so much this kid has to get this many plays. And they understand that. If you're playing better, you're on the roll, then we're probably going to let you keep going. But at the end of the day, we expect both of them to play.
Yes, Coach. And to follow that up, it looks like almost everybody on your team got a chance to run the ball as you guys established a great running game. Was that by design as well, or is that just kind of what Alcorn, Alcorn gave you?
Well, we went into the game and we wanted to establish the run, have a couple of different sets and just show a different look. And it started to work. So, if you're a coach and it's starting to work, you stay with it. It wasn't probably the intent for us to run the ball that many times, but just the flow of the game. And we felt like it gave us a chance to win at the end, which it did. I mean, we were down there on the 15-yard line, up by 3, with a chance to either score or to run the clock out. Unfortunately, our guy had a fumble. Their guy actually made a really great play punching the ball out. But in those situations, it's about the will of the man. You got to hold the ball. You can't allow that to happen. And that gave them a chance to get back into the ball game. And then they took advantage of it. They capitalized on our mistake. We had a chance to get a pick six to end the game, and we dropped it. As the football guys, as you know, you drop that interception, the next play they get a pass down to the 10-yard line and get the game in overtime. So it was just that type of game. It's a lot of lessons for the kids to learn. Alcorn State made their plays and they took advantage of them. We had our chances to make them, we didn't make them. So that's how football goes.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Do I have a chance to ask possibly one more quick follow up?
We should. Let me just work Deron in, and then we can circle back to you.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Next question goes to Deron Snyder.
Oh, hi. This is Darren Snyder. Coach, you mentioned something about mistakes, and I noticed that Bethune-Cookman is one of the least penalized teams in FCS. And we often hear about mistakes being linked to discipline. Can you say why is it that some teams are less penalized than others, and how that relates to discipline?
Yeah, I think the discipline starts off the field. You have to be on time for our meetings, go to class, go to study hall, go to those type of things. And then that discipline off the field should carry over to on the field. So, that's one of the things we stress. This week we had 4 penalties at the end of the ball game. So I thought that was great. We want to keep it to 4 or less each game. If we can do that, it gives you a big chance to win. Next thing you want to do is don't turn the ball over, which is somewhat of a mental mistake also. But we had the 3 turnovers. So you have to play that good disciplined brand of football. And like you said, Coach Woody has those guys playing that disciplined brand of football. We want to bring that same thing to the table. Play hard, play fair. But at the end of the day, some fouls you just can't help, but you can't just have the silly penalties, which we did a better job of that this week.
So there are drills and such for different techniques, but how do you strengthen discipline to not make mistakes?
Yeah, I think you have to emphasize it in practice. When guys make those mistakes, you have to take them out, give them some down up, stuff like that, just to get that mental aspect of it. But the biggest thing for the holding, you have to teach them, hey, let's put your hands inside. You can't pull them back till you run your feet. A lot of it is just if the effort is there, then you can win on that aspect of it. Some of it is just the high energy and nature of a violent game where you may get a little bit outside yourself. And you can live with some of those if it's an aggressive foul and just, hey, it was one step away. But the biggest thing, you have to be conscious of exactly what you're doing. It's more of a mental aspect and still play with that physical intensity.
Okay, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Last question goes to Henry Pugh.
Hey, Coach, I just want to circle back to special teams in the kicking game. Kickers are probably the most, it's probably one of the most mentally challenging positions because, you're standing off by yourself most of the game, only need it maybe once or twice a game. And then if something happens, you're looked at. So how are you able to encourage your kicker through all of this? Because we know we talked about this week 1, he missed the 2 field goals then. So is this kind of a mechanical thing? Is this a mental thing, or what are we looking at with that one?
Yeah, so I think he's a confident kid. He kicked a lot of big kicks, won state championships down at Miami Central. So we know he can make big kicks. His first kick was a 48-yarder in the Magic City Classic, and he made it. But it's not just the kicker, it's the snapper, it's the holder, it's the kick. One of them we had a bad hold with, which is a bad snap. So it's the whole operation. We'll do pressure kicks in practice. We'll get everybody surrounding them, jumping up and down, and squirt water on them and all those type of things. So you try to recreate the pressure in practice. If he misses it, the whole team will run something extra. So that way he can realize that he has to be there when the big game comes, when the big time comes. But, kickers, I've never kicked in a college football game, so it's hard for me to tell him exactly how to do it. But from a pressure standpoint, I've been in pressure situations and I can explain that to him.
All right. Thank you, Coach, for your time.
Appreciate it.
Coach Robinson, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Now go to Alcorn State and head coach McNair. Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. If you would, please start us out with an opening statement, recapping your team's win on the road at Alabama State.
It was a great road trip for us. I thought that we did the necessary things to come out with a win. Coach Robinson had those guys ready to play football. It was a hard-fought ball game to the end. I think both teams was very physical. played very hard. They really strained themselves at the point of attack. We had some turnovers there that we capitalized on in terms of what we had to do. In the final drive, we had an 89-yard drive to get in field goal range, and Kiana kicked the field goal to tie this thing up and going in overtime. Just a matter of the getting in possession and kicking the field goal in overtime to kind of win it. And of course, they had a chance to tie it up during overtime, and the kicker missed it. So fortunately, we came out with a great win, a great atmosphere. The crowd was phenomenal, man. It was a great place to play football. Other than that, just good to have a victory in a SWAC game again. Both teams played very hard.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach McNair.
Good morning, Doc.
Thank you. I want to talk a little bit back. He is in line as a candidate for our weekly Big Ben HBCU Football Player of the Award coming out of state of Texas, 61 200-pound Missouri City, Texas, as you know. Had a big in a lot of ways there, 32 for 46, 370, 2 touchdown interception, but he seems to be playing well, seems to be playing better in a lot of ways. What are your thoughts in terms of this play?
Aaron's done a great job managing the offense, and that thing that we look for. He's grown up since last year when he first became a starter last year. He made that giant step for us to be able to run his offense the way we need to be run, and he's playing for us, taking care of the football. I know he had an interception during the course of the game this past week, but other than that, I think he's been taking care of the football well, doing the job that we asked him to do. Just manage the game, convert on third downs is the biggest thing, not taking sacks. So that those things like that, the little things that really help a quarterback manage a football game. He's doing those things very well for his offense.
I imagine at the end of the day, the most important thing is about getting the W. As you move forward in terms of next week's game against Grambling, can you talk a little bit about seeking to try to get your run game going in some aspects over the last couple of weeks? It's probably not been where you would want it. Can you talk about what you want to see moving forward, particularly in that matchup against Grambling?
Well, we know everybody's going to try to stack the box against us and try to stop Howard from running the football and McDowell. So, it's good to have a good passing game to complement that in terms of what we do offensively. So we can't establish a running game. We have to. I know a lot of people start dropping 8 on us and then think we can pass the ball and not run the ball. So we're going to get better at that this week. It's all one in the trenches, whether it's offense or defense, So we just got to line up and do a better job up front, creating space for our running back. So we're capable of it. But I think whatever the team present to us, we have to be able to take advantage of it. And I think that we're doing a great job of taking advantage of the things that the team give us, whether it's run or pass. So, good thing we can catch the ball out of the backfield as a running back, do those things that necessary to create first downs and moving the chains, So being prepared to do all that kind of stuff, it kind of helps us out either way, whether we be able to run the ball or we be able to pass the ball. So it's always good to be kind of balanced, keep team off guard and doing both of the things that makes this team better.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend. Look forward to the matchup.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Hey, Coach. A 3-point loss last week at home and a 3-point win on the road this week. Does that say more about your team or more about the conference?
It's a good conference, man. I tell you, I mean, this conference has gotten better each and every year I've been in it. Since I became head coach in 2016, I think with the way the conference has been expanding and the way the conference is being played, it's a great league for us, man, and well balanced. Each and every weekend you have to come out and play football. You can't go on the calendar and mark a W. Because these teams are playing very hard, got great coaches in this conference as well, and the coaches going out recruiting the best kids to fit their program as well. So when you talk about this conference, one of the elite conference, and what we're doing in terms of this conference, it's great football in this conference, and each and every week you got to come prepared to play, lace up your cleats and get ready to dig in.
Well, you talk about great coaches and balanced. How do you prepare for a Hugh Jackson-led Grambling team that had a very balanced game against Prairie View this past weekend?
Well, we got to look at the things we do offensively, defensively, and kind of see what they're doing schematically over there in their running game. We got a good running game, and of course, Crowder's playing very well as a quarterback. So they well balanced. We just got to be able to make adjustments and get them off their platform to do other things they're not used to doing. So take away the things they do great in terms of offense and defense. So I know Coach Thornton, he's a great defense coordinator, a great play caller. So we got to be prepared offensively for the things he's going to have for us defensively. So they're a well-balanced team. So we got to take care of what we need to take care of as Alcorn Braves to kind of put them off their platform.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Currently taking questions for Coach McNair with Alcorn State. If you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. Floor is now open for questions. Any final questions for Coach? Coach McNair, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, we're a few minutes ahead of schedule. We'll be back at 10:35, approximately 2 minutes with Coach Woody with Bethune-Cookman. Thank you for your patience. All right. Once again, if you do have questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature here on Zoom to get your question in the queue for our coaches. With that being said, have to be joined by Coach Woody with Bethune-Cookman. Coach, if you could please just start us out with an opening statement recapping your bye week with the Wildcats.
Well, I had a great opportunity with the coaches and the guys, just pretty much self-scouting, obviously doing, bye week, the first thing, obviously, you would like to do is just find out some of the things that you're doing well and some of the things that you need to improve on. So that was, a good situation to go and evaluate all aspects of the game.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Darren Snyder.
Yes, good morning, Coach Woody. I was noticing in the national rankings, Bethune is one of the least penalized teams in the country at the FCS level. How do you get your guys to be so disciplined in that area? What types of things do you do to work on that?
Well, basically, it's, the standard is a standard. I mean, we want to do things the right way, but obviously the smart way. And, whatever you do, it's always consequences. So, at the end of the day, you want to make sure it's clear, precise, and concise that, what you do is who you are, so we really harp on that, and we want to make sure that we hold these players accountable.
Also, you've had a couple of games against FBS schools and one against Savannah. In your game against Jackson, very competitive game quote unquote at your level, at the FCS level. What did you mentioned reflecting during your open week? What were some of the takeaways from the self-scouting that you guys have done in your first year in the program?
Well, I mean, obviously we got to be able to hold on to the ball. I mean, we have to, be able to, make the plays that's asked of the guys that's out there, because obviously, they want to be out there. We didn't have confidence of them, making the plays. But, at the end of the day, it's just some of those self-inflicted penalties, some of our penalties, which you said earlier, we have few game by game, but the ones that we do have, it just sometimes not happens at the right time, and we don't have, the team to just, give the ball away, or, having guys run in late, it's just those things that we can control, and we just evaluated ourselves. And, obviously as a coach, you want to make it kiss. You want to have the schemes, whether it's offense, defense, special team, you want to have them simple, because at the end of the day, if you're out there not executing, then you have to look at the coach and say, hey, how can I make it a little easier? So, we went back and said, maybe this was not as easy, for the student athlete to understand. So let's evaluate ourselves and make it more simpler so they can play fast.
Okay, thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Woody.
Good morning.
Just want to ask you a little more in regards to that off week, you moving through and setting the culture for your program. Can you talk a little bit about those do's and don'ts in preparing to play in these conference games thus far that seem to be relatively close, where the play here and is the difference between a victory and not earning the victory?
Well, we just have to, put those guys in those situations and practice, to see how they respond. And then, obviously, situational ball is always good, because I really feel like it's not just practice, it's perfect practice. So we have to make sure that our guys understand that, when we're in these crucial moments, that, the things that's hurting us, can't happen. So you put them in those situations over and over again, and hopefully the next time they're in those situations, they will execute, and it won't cost us big.
Obviously, it's early in the race. Before the bye week, you had the tough loss to Jackson State 0-1, but you have this matchup against Alabama State, which is in the division, and the importance of winning games in conference, but even much more in terms of your division. When you look at Alabama State in terms of what they do schematically, particularly from an offensive perspective, what are you looking for your defense to get done in this particular matchup?
Well, I mean, Coach Eddie Robson does a great job, with the team. They play hard. I mean, on offense, they have, really good players, and they play two quarterbacks, and obviously, those guys, they're going to be ready to play, and we just have to continue to be disciplined, have to make sure we master the basic fundamentals, being able to fit our gaps, tackle well, and don't let the ball go over our head. That's the key. I mean, but I tell you, they have guys on that football team that can make you pay if you're not in the right position.
Right, absolutely. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
This weekend, look forward to the matchup.
Yes, sir.
Take care.
Questions for Coach Woody with Bethune-Cookman. If you do have a question, please utilize your raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. Floor is open for questions. Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure being on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are a few minutes ahead of schedule. We will be back at 10:45 with our next coach. Thank you for your patience. We'll be back momentarily. Once again, for all of our media participants, if you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for our coaches. Please limit your questions to one initial question, potentially a follow-up question. If we do have time allotted under coach's availability, we will circle back to get additional questions answered. With that being said, we will go to Coach Simmons with Florida A&M University. You see, we have Coach Simmons joining us now. All right, we have Coach Simmons there with us. Once again, for our media, please use the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for our coaches. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Simmons with Florida A&M. Coach, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. If you could please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent road win at Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah, definitely. Hard fought game. Obviously, talked about it last week. It'll be as always a tough place to play, and for the first half that showed. And our guys didn't come out with the intensity and the focus that we needed offensively to put points on the board. Fortunately, the defense was able to get an early touchdown for us and played great ball throughout. And halftime, we challenged the guys to lock in and do what needed to be done, and came out the second half with a different mindset. It was able to score 3 straight drives and kind of put the game out of reach. So good conference win. Always the goal to stay top of the standings and control our own destiny. We're doing that right now, and obviously a huge task for us this week. Southern's always a great contest, true rival in every sense of the word. So Baton Rouge is extremely difficult place to play for other reasons, and they'll have a great crowd, great turnout, and we know we have our hands full with a team that's playing its best ball of the season right now. So looking forward to the challenge. This is why you come to FAMU to play games like this, and I know it's going to be a great atmosphere, great environment, and this is a game that I think true football fans want to be a part of.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Hey, Coach. After the game on Saturday night, you commented that you weren't too pleased with the offensive performance, not only that night but throughout the season. What have you seen from the offense that kind of made you kind of challenge them to be better and kind of want them to be better?
Well, just the relentless mindset that it takes to be a dominant offense. We're trying to match the intensity of our defense, and those guys come to work every day. They don't complain. They practice through injury. They do all the things that it takes to be dominant, and it's showing up in how they're performing. Offensively, we need better leadership. We need more consistency from the top down. Everybody looks at Moose as the leader, but it takes more than just a quarterback. So we need everyone involved to understand the expectations of what it takes to be a successful unit. And once we're able to do that, I think we can have the success that we envision, because we have the talent, but we've been saying it from the beginning, talent's not enough, and we got to clean up some other areas to reach our full potential.
Okay. As a quick follow-up, speaking of your quarterback, you took to social media yesterday to defend him from some criticism he'd been receiving. Why did you feel like it was important for you to step out like that and do that for him?
Well, because again, he's the unquestioned leader of this team and unquestioned starter. There's no quarterback competition. Moose can't play himself out of the position. We go as he goes. And the criticism is going to come. We talked about that the very first day he stepped foot on campus. To be the quarterback at FAMU, you got to be able to handle the criticism. So, it wasn't defending him per se. It was just to let everyone know, you can talk all you want to, but until you coach him and until you call the plays here, there's no quarterback controversy here at FAMU. Moose is our guy, and he's going to be the guy, for the rest of the season.
All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Credit to your team. May not play up to what you want them to play, but they got the victory as you continue on. So I want to move into the Southern matchup, which a lot of people rankings have out there. You're talking about a top 10 matchup. You're going long history between these two programs, but with that being said, you're going to get the best of them the last couple of years. What do you see in terms of that is leading the conference in a lot of ways, particularly at front seven? What do you see that they're able to do well on defense, and how do you want to attack it?
Well, Don, they play extremely hard and they're sound. They're not a team that's going to try to, out scheme you and try to trick you. They're going to line up and they're going to come after you. And it starts with the front four. When you have a front four like that, you can do that. We're very similar with how we'll attack people. We're not concerned with trying to out scheme people. We feel if our defensive line sets the tone, everything else takes care of itself. We can sit in base defense all day long and make you try to throw the ball around the yard and allow our guys to pin their ears back and come get you. That's what Southern does a great job of. They commit themselves to stopping the run first, and then everything else kind of flows off that. So they've been a tough outfit. Dooley's a great coach, has shown that throughout his career, and they're a talented football team. So I think it's going to be a team of a test of wills. Both teams want to stop the run on defense. Both teams want to establish the run on offense. And if we can do that, then our passing game opens up. But I think it's going to be a great, great challenge of who can impose its will on the other team.
I want to take it off of this matchup and go in a little philosophical direction of thoughts. You've been part of various conferences of different levels, head coach, assistant coaches, BCS programs. What is the nature of conference matchups that make them tighter? Who are you playing? You come in top ranked, if you would, number one ranked team, somebody else, not as much, or the opposite, you come in to go against somebody. What conference play that makes matchups challenging? We see that across the board at different levels.
Well, because of the familiarity. You're going to play the same teams every year. The NFL does it twice. They play the same team twice in the same year. So just knowing the personnel, knowing the schemes most of the time, unless you have a new coach. I've been facing Eric Dooley, but my entire career in the SWAC, and he's going against me. And so there's not, I mean, he can, his scout report on Sunday is the same as ours. Like, I know what he's going to do. He knows what we're going to do. It's a matter of, can we stop what they do? Can they stop what we do? Who can beat themselves and impose their will? I think that's the trick in any conference matchup, because of the familiarity that you have with the teams. And then in the importance of the games, you want to win the non-conference games for records and standings and rankings. But when it comes to conference play, everything you want, for most teams, they say their season starts when conference play starts. A lot of people play 3 to 4 non-conference games first. And then once they get in the conference, no matter what happened the first 3, the season starts. So you can be 0-3, 0-4, but everything's still in front of you because you still have the conference to play. And so those games have a lot more at stake. And so the stakes, the familiarity with the teams, the trash talk between the fan bases, I think that's what makes conferences so important. And I think that's starting to get watered down with all the conference realignment. You're getting a lot of these non-traditional rivalries that are coming to play with teams on hosts going against each other. Naturally, East Coast versus West Coast, those aren't rivalries. They may be coming down the line, but you're not going to get the same thing as an in-state game or a cross-state game or something that's been going on for years and years.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend. Looking forward to the matchup. And I like the quiet shout out you've done with your hoodie there today.
Represent the women's sports, baby.
No doubt.
Next question goes to Henry Pugh.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. How are you doing?
How you doing, Henry?
I'm good. Congratulations on the win. I say on the field, and I have to say in Twitter as well. Let me ask you about that. Your fight against the Twitter trolls. What brought on? And I know it's kind of been all season and off season. It started off with the by 40, but now it feels like it's gotten a little bit more personal. What reached the point to where you ended up speaking out and defending Jeremy so much?
Well, it's all in fun. The people who know me know that I don't hold grudges. I don't take anything personal. So I love our fan base. I've been a part of programs where people could care less whether you won or lost. Here, there's real passion, and there's a real expectation that every time we take the field that we're excellent. That's in our school motto. And so when we're not, I expect to hear the criticism. I tell our players expect to hear it. And so, me saying that yesterday, again, I'm going to answer questions in the media. I'm going to answer questions to my quarterback club on Wednesday, but I want to get it out there before I even have to get in front of media. Jeremy's our guy. I mean, he's been our guy for 2 years. The guy's won 13 games. He's preseason player of the year. He's an NFL prospect. I mean, he's our guy. Is he playing as well as he can? No, but nobody is at this point, and he's the only one taking the criticism. So I just wanted to get ahead of it so I don't have to keep answering questions every time I get in front of an alum or someone about our quarterback situation. There is no controversy. He's not in jeopardy of losing his job. I mean, we have talented guys in the room, but Jeremy's our guy. He's going to be our guy. So I just put that statement out there on Twitter. And I happen to go back and forth with a couple of fans. Again, all in banter, all in fun. And I hope they didn't take it personal. A few of them actually inboxed me and apologized for it getting public, but I don't take any of that stuff personal. And people think that, if they think they do, they don't know me. So I had time. We had a long bus ride from Itabena. I slept on the bus, so I had a lot of energy Sunday morning. So I decided to blow some of that steam off on social media, but nothing major. I don't think it's a story.
All right, Coach. So from what I took with that was Coach Simmons had time today. So we thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Coach Simmons, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you, guys. Have a great week.
Thank you. We'll now go to Grambling State. Head Coach Jackson.
How you guys doing?
Doing great, Coach, as always. Sincerely appreciate you take some time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent victory at the State Fair Classic over Prairie View A&M.
Yes, sir. We were very excited to play in the game, State Fair Classic. Obviously, it's a big game. We were very fortunate to win the game, to end the losing streak of 5 years. Our players are excited. Our fan base is excited. Our team is working extremely hard. We know we got a long journey the rest of the season, but that was a great win for us.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Dr. Cavill. You're on mute, Doc. You're on mute, Doc.
Thank you, Mark. Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I thought I had all good things to say there. Congratulations on the victory. And the post talked about it being personal. Is that in terms of that particular match, just in terms of this season for the G-Men?
No, I think it's in terms of season for the G-Men. You know, we didn't perform last year the way we thought we could. You know, our coaching staff as well. And I think what we've done is we've, you know, circled the wagons and boarded the hatches and said, hey, look, let's make this season about getting Grambling back to where they need to be. So it's going to be a personal season for us.
Offensively, it seems like pretty much all season you've been able to be very, in terms of balance, being able to get it done in the air, being able to pass, getting it done on the ground, running the ball. But people may have had about the defense, but over the last couple of weeks, the defense seems to be playing better. Well, what are your thoughts going into this Alcorn game? You head road and you want to continue the momentum, obviously in a conference game and division showdown as well.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's a big game. Obviously, it's the next one on the schedule for this Alcorn. It's their homecoming. You know, they had a big win this past week. We want to keep our momentum going. We understand the opponent. It's going to be a tough fight, tough game. But we're going in there with the intentions to go win the game.
Thank you, Coach. Matchup.
Sure.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Coach, you congratulations on the victory. You threw the ball 41 times, you ran it 40 times. Talk about the importance of having a balanced attack in games.
I think it's really important. I think that's how you win. I think that's really the formula for winning. And we understand sometimes you're going to be a little bit more or less in some area. But if you can be balanced and run the ball and get production and throw the football and get production, you have a chance to be a really good offensive football team. I think we're just starting to hit our stride. I think there's a lot more out there that we can do as an offensive football team. But at the same time, I think the pieces, you know, they're really starting to come together and play well. And it's all led by our quarterback. He's done a tremendous job.
Well, let's talk about your offensive line and how that has progressed since you arrived on campus there, and talk about the reason behind their development.
Well, I think when you look at it, we understand that's the key to it. You know, you got to be pretty good up front. We've been very fortunate. 5 games, only have 4 sacks. Those guys have done a really good job run blocking. They've done a great job pass protecting. And it starts with, one, how we go about putting our guys in position and the coaching of the position. Coach Valdez has done a really good job with our offensive line. Coach Hall has really crafted a really good plan for those guys to give them a chance to be successful.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Charles Bishop.
Coach Jackson, how are you doing?
Good.
Congratulations on the victory. I wanted to ask this question. What has been the secret to your success this season, especially scoring in the red zone? You guys, 94% scoring in the red zone with 15 touchdowns. Even this game, you were 6 of 6 in the red zone. So curious as to what has been the secret to the sauce.
No, I just think it's how we plan it. It's how we go about it. You know, that's a staff thing. We work at it. It's important to us. We know when you get down there, you need to score touchdowns. We was not as efficient this past week in the game as we like. We down there a couple of times and penalties pushed us out. So but we can be better, and we got to do better. And so I know everybody thinks that's a great clip at 90%, but we expect to be better than that, because when we go down there, we have a very good plan on how we like to try to get the ball into the end zone.
One follow-up question, late touchdown in that game against Prairie View. What sort of went into the mindset with regards to game in hand, but going ahead and pushing in for that late touchdown?
I think it's important that you let your players play, and we just ran a basic football play. I mean, it was going to be the end of the game, and we ended up scoring. It had no other meaning to it other than that. It's just line up and snap the ball and want the quarterback to have to take a knee or anything like that. It's just hand it off and see what happens, and it led to a score.
Sure thing. Thank you, Coach.
Sure.
Next question goes to Henry Pugh.
Good morning, Coach Jackson, and congratulations on the big win.
Thank you.
Coach, we talked previously, felt like the one thing about your team that wasn't right was the defense. Something's clicked. Something's clicked, and that defense is rolling now. Is there something behind that as far as a scheme change, or is just light switch go off?
Maybe it's more light switch. I think we're a lot of good football players over there. When you talk about Lewis Matthews and Sonny Anderson, those guys understand that's not the type of defense we wanted to play. They needed to step up and start playing some good football. And so I think we've improved over the last couple of weeks. I still think there's a lot more improvement to do. The key to this thing, as you guys all know, is to keep getting better as the season goes on. And so our guys are working at it. We're trying to emphasize everything what we think that we need to get better at, and we're going to continue to do so.
And Coach, follow up. You've taken a lot of criticism just in your first two years here about what I guess the expectations. Have you started sending out addresses for those apology letters to come in?
No receipts have been taken. I get it. When the National Football League coach comes into the conference, they think, you got all the secret sauce. But in order to do that, you got to have the right players. It's still about building a program, and that's going to have sustainable winning. And so it took us a little bit, but I understand everybody wants winning right now. I do too. But at the same time, there's a way that you have to do it. You can't shortcut anything, because then it won't be sustainable. So hopefully the people starting to see that we're getting there at a high rate. And, it's going to be exciting down the stretch here.
Thank you, Coach, and good luck on your next one.
Thank you.
We've got time for one last question for Coach Jackson with Grambling State. All right, last question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Hey, Coach, you talked about the process in which it takes to build a team. Coming into this season and through the first kind of like 5 games or so, what have you seen differences between this bunch you have this year and what you worked with last year in terms of getting to that point where you guys want to be?
Well, this is more my team. When I first got here, there was a lot of, student athletes that were still here, and I didn't think it was right to run people out of here that way. I just didn't look at it like that. There's young men who are on scholarship with aspirations and goals. And I thought it was important that I understood the lay of the land first and foremost, understand the conference better and what we needed to do, whether right or wrong. That's a decision I made. But after last season, we started really recruiting to our profile and what we're looking for at all the different positions. We were able to accomplish that. And I think we're seeing the fruit of that happening. And you got to go get people that you want to align with. And I think we all understand that, but sometimes that takes time. There's more to it than just, throwing everybody out. At the end of the day, everybody wants winning, but I think everybody does it a little bit different. And I made that choice and decision, and last year was last year. And I think people see the changes we've made this year.
As a quick follow-up, Coach, you guys have #1 offense in the SWAC. You lead the SWAC West. Are you surprised of the progress so far, being that Miles Crawley, a transfer quarterback, is in his first year under your system?
No, I'm not surprised at anything we're doing. If anything, I want more. I expect more. I expect more from our offense. I expect more from our defense and our special teams unit. I think we're just scratching the surface on how good we can be, but I think there's a lot of work ahead in order to get there.
Thank you.
Coach Jackson, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
We'll now go to Arkansas Pine Bluff and head coach Hampton. You see that we have Coach there with us. Coach Hampton, as always, sir, we sincerely appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent home outing versus Southern.
Yeah, obviously, we didn't play as well as we wanted to. Southern had a lot to do with that. Kids came out, first drive, got a big interception. We've done that 3 of the last 4 weeks, get the turnover, and obviously we didn't do nothing with it on offense. And we knew they had a good defense coming in the game, and, they made it pretty tough on us. 6 sacks. A lot of it, these guys just didn't do what they need to do, but we got to put them in better positions as well. So hats off to Coach Dooley and Coach Miller. Those guys had them ready. So, we'll take this week and bye a week and get ready and get prepared for Mississippi Valley.
Appreciate those opening comments. Coach, first question goes to Tanner Spearman.
Hey, Coach. So bye week coming up for you guys, 2 weeks to get ready for that next game. What do you hope most to get accomplished this week with the open date?
The work. We got to go to work. I mean, obviously, like today is Monday, so it's academic Monday. We'll make sure kids are going to class, doing what they're supposed to do. Just like everybody said, it's the little things, man. And when you're building a program, getting guys to buy in and do things of that nature. Then tomorrow we'll come out to practice, a normal practice. We'll be in pads, and we just got to get fundamentally better. And that's just the little things that's holding us back. And so as a staff, that's the thing that's going to focus on this week and focus on us. And then obviously you'll watch some film of Mississippi Valley and then kind of go from there.
Currently taking questions for Coach Hampton with Arkansas Pine Bluff. Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBC Sports Lab. As you said, Coach Hampton, things didn't quite go your way this last weekend. You've been playing really competitive. It wasn't the case in terms of the total score, but your team still pushed through. Overall rushing, you were able to get over 160 total yards. What are your thoughts in terms of what you're able to do running the ball in that matchup and moving forward?
No, I'll be honest, Dr. Cavill. I mean, we had 2 chances to score in the red zone early in the game. They were up 7-0. We tried the ball in the red zone. We got a 4th and 1 on the plus 14-yard line. The hold is there. The running back falls over his own feet. And I mean, I'm frustrated about that. I mean, obviously, we've been able to run the football. Coach Miller, they did a good job. I mean, a lot of the sacks, the quarterback could have threw the ball. We had one-on-one matchup. So I'm going to give them credit, but we got to go back and look at what we're doing, and we got to coach better to put them in position. And those kids got to come in, and they got to be dialed in as well, because we left some plays out there that would have made a difference in the game. And, obviously, even on their first touchdown play that they made, the catch over the Miller, man, we had over the middle of the field, we had 2 guys right there. I mean, it wasn't nothing hard about that. So I'm going to give them credit, but we got to coach better, and our guys got to respond to the challenge and make the plays when the plays come there. But obviously, we have been able to run the ball. Jonas, we thought he could go this week. He wasn't able to go. That's like 2 weeks in a row. Starting running back hadn't been able to play, but obviously, man, the next guy up mentality. We just got to continue to keep pushing forward. And, man, we know what the program is going to be right now. And like you said, we've been competitive in every game. We were down 20-0 at half, and we came out right after half, and they were able to get a score. And that was just because one guy didn't get in his gap. So those are the kind of things that's holding us back. And but we've been able to run the football, and we'll continue to just got to work at it this week and get ready to go in a couple weeks.
Follow-up questions about the open date you alluded to. Always fascinating when I get a chance to speak with new coaches in their program about their philosophy of how they go about their week. Are you the type to go in and look at and dissect what took place, whatever games played early, or do you go about it in a different? Can you kind of break down your philosophy of how you take advantage of your program during the open week?
Well, obviously, when you're 1-4, you got to go back and look at everything. And I do that every week anyway as a head coach. I don't sleep much, man. So I watch every game and I go back and see what can we do better on offense, what can we do better on special teams, defense, and this week could be no different. But obviously, the kids, you try to give them a day or so off. We'll give them a couple of days off, Friday, Saturday, but man, we got to work. And when you're trying to build a program, everybody needs to understand it's a process. But the way you get better is you work. And so obviously we got some guys that are hurting, and we'll hold those guys back this week. But those younger guys, man, we got to build this program, and it's time for them to get to work. And so we'll probably have a light scrimmage on Thursday for some of those guys, and we got some donors that want to cook for us on Thursday. So I'm excited about that. I mean, we're building a program, and like I told the players, man, this is part of the process. It's going to be some pain, but we got to persevere. We can't break. We can't fold when the going get tough. And Saturday they had a chance to fold, but they didn't. And that's what I like about it, man. Let's be honest, man. We had three fumbles. We gave them away. We had an interception. It was in the red zone twice. So, I mean, I'm disappointed in that. It's just like, we're getting close, but we're not there. I mean, Suggs is a really good program. Coach Dooley's done a really good job. But, we watched the film yesterday, and the players like, I did. Yeah. That's part of it, but we'll be fine.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the following week's matchup when you get on the road to Valley.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Currently taking questions for Coach Hampton with Arkansas Pine Bluff. Next question goes to Tanner Spearman.
Hey, Coach, I'll tag in with one more. About halfway through your first season as a head coach, and you got 5 games behind you, 6 still to go. If we put the results aside for just a moment, talk about, Sunday through Friday, what's that experience been like for you as a head coach so far, just being with these guys in the locker room, on the practice field, and being able to lead them out every Saturday?
I mean, that's been fabulous. I mean, I enjoy every single day. And man, if you could ever get in my office, man, I got notes all over. And I'm a collection of things, man. I take notes. Every day here is a different challenge. And man, I put it on my computer. I put it on my desktop. I throw it in this folder. And so I keep telling myself, we just got to be able to get through the first year. Because now I know everywhere to be, everything I got to do. I know when to put this business rec. I got to do this, got to do that. So it's exciting. But obviously, and I tell the players, it is my job to make sure they understand it's no pressure on them. I want all the pressure on me and the staff. I want you guys to go out and have fun. I want you guys to go out there, go to class and make good grades, be great in the community. Let me worry about all the other stuff. And so it's been fun from that perspective. And people say, Coach, you're always smiling. Man, I'm never not going to smile. Like, I haven't had a bad day. I'm not going to have a bad day. Now, I get disappointed when I don't win, because I know the work that we put in as coaches, but that's every coach on this call. But I'm never going to be discouraged. Like, I know who holds my tomorrow. You can't get me with that. I mean, that scoreboard, yes, I'm judged based off that scoreboard, but man, I've already won in life. So you can't get me with that. So I'm going to wake up every morning smiling, motivated, and trying to get these kids to understand that we're going to be good. But in order to be good, you got to work. And that's where we're at with this program. Everybody that touched this program, from administration, from support staff to faculty, it's work to be done. And if we continue to just stay arm in arm, one team, one roar, then the Golden Lions will eventually get where we want to go. I just heard Coach Hugh Jackson, man, I Grambling got everything they need. And he said it last year. People was you have naysayers and they saying whatever, but guess what? Man, he stayed with the plan. Those guys are playing well. I know his offensive coordinator, Tony Hull. I worked with him last year at University of Louisiana Monroe. So they're gonna be fine. And that's what you have to do. You have to work through the kinks in order to get to the gravy. And so that's kind of where we're at with this program. We got a long season ahead. Hey, break came at the perfect time, and we're going back and we're watching all the film and getting all the good and the bad, making cut-ups, and just showing our players, man, if you do this, this is going to happen. If you do this, this is what's going to happen, good and bad. So we're excited about where we're headed.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach Hampton, as always, we sincerely appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right, man. Y'all be blessed.
Thank you. Next up, we go to Mississippi Valley State. Head coach Kendrick Wade. Coach, as always, First and foremost, thank you for taking some time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent home outing versus Florida A&M.
Yes, sir. First of all, good morning to everybody. We fought well first half, played pretty hard for 30 minutes. Had a big momentum change right before the half, and we never got back to where we needed to after that. So it's kind of part of the process of taking over a program like this. Our next opponent, Prairie View, really good team. If you're gonna have any shot at beating those guys, you got to be able to stop the run. So it's a nice challenge ahead of us, and we're looking forward to it.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Can y'all reveal Dr. Cavill's inside the HBC Sports Lab? Good morning, Coach Wade.
Hey, good morning, Doc.
In several of your games, you've been really close in terms of the first half. Some of them, they kind of get away in the second half. Are there anything that you've looked at to see what may be attributed to?
Well, we're looking at everything. We're looking at how we practice. As coaches, we have to evaluate everything that we do because it's been consistent. I think part of it is, like I said, we hadn't had a lot of success around here. So when you take over a program like this, most of our games in the first half have been close. And you can talk about not watching the scoreboard and not doing those things, but when you hadn't had a lot of success, I think naturally you start to look at the scoreboard and look at the game as close, opposed to just doing the small things that you need to do each and every play to kind of, get you to where you need to be at the end of the fourth quarter when it's all zeros on the clock. But like I said, we're looking at everything. We evaluate in practice. Are we doing too much? Are we not doing enough? Are we doing too much on the front end of practice, not doing enough on the back end? So we evaluated everything. And, we got to come up with a solution to be able to finish these games.
Follow-up question as you talk about going into Prairie View, find a way to stop the run. Valley over the last couple of years has had success about being the Prairie View killer, obviously in a lot of ways. Prior to becoming the head coach, is there anything that you want to get across to your team to not look back at that, or is that something that can be a positive in terms of looking at the ability to play in this matchup to get the W?
Just day-to-day process for us. So like I said, we're not going to come in with a different message than we did the previous 4 games. But that being said, psychologically, I think there is a point to be made, to where we're able to say that we have had some success against this team. Maybe if we start fast, maybe we create some doubt in their mind, just really trying to get our guys kind of in a positive mind frame. But it'll be the same. To answer your question, it'll pretty much be the same. Let's come in, let's work hard, let's do what we need to do each and every day. And Saturday, it'll take care of itself, because what happened prior to us being here, it doesn't matter whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. We just got to stay true to who we are, what we do.
That's fair. I know there's a tricky insight there. I appreciate your candor on that. Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to Charles Bishop.
Coach Wade, how are you doing?
Hey, Charles, how you doing, man?
Let me ask this question. Although the success hasn't come in terms of the wins for this program, what are sort of the incremental positives that you've seen here in your first year with Valley?
Man, you got kids that keep fighting. If you got some kids that's going to keep fighting, that's going to give you a chance, So guys are not giving up, and they still believe. And, after the game Saturday, we asked guys who still believe, and guys raised their hand, and we made them stand up and say, why do you believe? We 0-4. We just lost our first home opener, first SWAC game. Why do you believe? So having guys be able to articulate those things gives us some insight and really just some motivation and inspiration to say that, you know what, we still got a shot because these kids believe. And, like I said, we're on the right path. There are a lot of small things that happen throughout the game, some positives that we see that we try to use each and every week as we continue to build this program. And we're doing it the right way. There was a guy got suspended who was a starter. He was late for pregame meal. He got suspended. And a lot of what we wanted to do offensively was based around him, but he didn't play, because we're going to do things the right way. So we're not skipping any steps just to try to rush to have some success. We're just going to do it the right way around here.
Sure thing. Appreciate that, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Currently taking questions for Coach Wade with Mississippi Valley State. Any final questions for Coach? Coach Wade, as always, we sincerely appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We've got a few minutes before we will be joined by Coach McDowell with Prairie View A&M at approximately 11:25 Central. Thank you for your patience. Once again, for all of our media participants, if you do have questions for our coaches, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Please limit your questions to one initial question, potentially a follow-up. If we do have time and our coaches' scheduled availability, we will circle back to get additional questions answered. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach McDowell with Prairie View A&M. Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to join us. If you could please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing at the State Fair Classic versus Grambling State.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, it was a great atmosphere for good football, and good football was played. Again, unfortunately, we didn't come out on the winning end. Coach Jackson had these guys ramped up, ready to go for 4 quarters of football. They came out, they did just that, and that's the thing we pride ourselves on, as a coaching staff with these young men. Again, just playing 4 quarters of football. And I've said it all year long. Those teams that come out and play 4 quarters of football is most likely is going to win the game. And we left some things out there as an offense, opportunities that we should have capitalized on, didn't, and maybe it was due to us or Grambling. But again, at the end of the day, when those opportunities present itself, we have to make plays, and that's on both sides, offense and defense. You know, they did what they needed to do for 4 quarters of football, and they won the game. And now we just got to go back and reassess and assess some things that we need to get corrected for a good team coming in. You know, Coach Wade's going to have his team ready to go, so we just got to get ready to go be better this week, getting ready for Valley coming in.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
Hey, Coach, how are you doing?
Hey, Charles, what's up, buddy?
I wanted to ask this question, and you and I, we've talked about some of the missed opportunities. And I wanted to ask, missed opportunity right before halftime, knocking on the door there about the 2-yard line, end up with a missed field goal. But I wanted to ask, how much of a carryover effect does that have going into the second half?
I think it has a lot, again, but, that's what we kind of pride ourselves on, and me as a head coach and my staff, we got to get these guys, back on track, and as I tell them, things going to happen. You're going to have those peaks, ups and down peaks during the course of the game. But bad things happen. You got to be able to forget about it and still go out and play football, because there's a game still to be played, and a game. Again, you want to win. So you harp on those bad things that happened, and more likely bad things going to continue. So we try to get them, pumped up as much as possible to forget about the past and concentrate more on the future.
Sure. Quick follow-up, tough emotional loss for Grambling, but I saw you gather the team on the field immediately post-game. What was your message to the team?
Again, just, keep your head up. We're going to have to go back in, look at the film, see what you did wrong. Again, I thought we left a lot of things out there, opportunities, should I say that, again, I thought had we capitalized on them, the game would have been much different. So again, just coming back in, making more important, making sure they stay together as a unit, don't start blaming one another, because again, it's a long season. You never know what's going to happen. Every team in the West and the East, these guys are good. So you just got to be able to, stay together and then just take care of our business here at Prairie View.
Sure thing. Appreciate that, Coach.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach McDowell.
Doc.
Wanted to ask you about Trajan in terms of his game, 4 receptions for 109 yards. Wasn't in the end zone, but he racked up some yards there. We have him on our Big Ben HBCU Weekly Award watch list about his play. Can you talk about him a little bit in terms of what he's done this season?
Yeah.
Obviously, his past matchup.
Yeah, young man he's steady improving each game. And again, we put ourselves in position to make plays, and we've had opportunities to make plays. Those numbers could have been much greater than what he ended up with, had we capitalized on some catches and throws as well. So, and again, we didn't make them, and we just, tell these guys, they have to be ready to go next game. The next game is the most important game. That's Valley coming in, and get ready to prepare for Valley. We got to be better this week as we started today with practice, and that was my message to them, like, be better than we were this past week, and things going to take care of itself. But he's continuing to grow and as well as he should, but again, leaving things out there for us to miss opportunities out there that we should be easily, catching and scoring with, but we haven't. We got to figure it out, and I'm pretty sure we will going forward.
Follow-up questions about Mississippi Valley, but in a different perspective. Streaks come and go. Some of them good, some of them bad. Obviously, continue streak, winning against Texas Southern University. Indeed, you got busted the streak in terms of Alcorn State, the Braves getting the win on the road there. You come back, but then the streak stops against Grambling. Now you have an opportunity with Valley coming in there, and they've kind of been in the years in terms of getting it done. What are your thoughts in general? Just go different ways in terms of what do they think about streaks of coming off of big wins, tough losses, or multiple years over different years, different coach at the helm at Valley, but what are your thoughts overall in terms of components, win streaks and losing streaks?
I mean, streaks are they are what they are. I mean, good or bad. And I mean, it depends on the player. I mean, it depends on the team, how well they get up for. You know, some guys get up for it, some guys don't, it doesn't bother them because they just look at that. The next game is the game that they have to win. And that's what that's what we try to strive our guys to understand, streaks are streaks, and as you pointed out, we was up on Grambling, the last 5 years, but now that streak is over. And the reason why that streak is over again, if you don't go out and play football the way you're capable of playing, that streak can end or it can continue. So we know that, hey, we have issues with the Valley teams and Mississippi teams. So we know Coach Wade going to have these guys ready to go, man. And as I said all year long, guys, we got some great coaches. You hear other coaches talk about, in the SWAC, from both sides, and you just never know what team is going to show up. But again, in order for you to be successful as a team, you got to go out and prepare yourself each week, to play this team like a championship team, man. Because again, they can come in and win at any time, and shoot, as we did, we went and won against Alcorn. So, we got to be able to just take care of ourselves, take care of business like we're capable of doing, and we're going to be okay. Do not take anybody for granted, because again, if you do that, once again, you'll find yourself on that losing end.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome, Doc.
Andrew, do I have an opportunity for one follow-up question, quick question?
Absolutely.
Coach, want to follow up specifically on Valley. They've kind of started slow in terms of the ability to score, whether it's running the ball or through the air. What are your thoughts in terms of getting some momentum in terms of the start of the game in this particular matchup against Valley?
Momentum is everything. I mean, sure, that's what a lot of guys strive off of. Again, once you get the momentum up, hopefully you will continue to, strive to get that momentum going even further, and during the course of the game, and help you get points, stops, and create an atmosphere to where, in their mind that, they're going to win this game no matter what, as long as they, continue to play 4 quarters of football. And again, you're going to have those peaks, throughout the course of the game, and the team that, operates best, through those tunnels, through those channels, and do what they're supposed to do is going to win the game. Valley's no different. Alcorn's no different. Fam's no different. Prairie View's no different. Every team that goes out there and play against one another, they have, they want to do their very best to win the game. So again, just going forward, they just got to be able to concentrate, make plays that they're supposed to make, those opportunities, and again, we've been in games where we had, from week 1 to week 5, opportunities that we missed that would, solidify a win, or in some cases, have more points on the board than that we ended up with. But again, it's about those guys getting ready to go out week after week, and play the team that's coming up, play them better than they played the team last week, prepare themselves better than they prepared last week in order for us to win this game.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend. I look forward to the matchup.
Thanks, Doc.
Last question goes to Kyle Mosley.
Hey, Coach, how you doing, sir?
What up, Mo?
All right. I may have missed this part, but what was your message to your team after the loss?
Again, just stay together. We played a good game. We played a good team. They just played 4 quarters of football better than we did. They brought it to us at the end, and we didn't. So again, my main point was to them was, again, just stay together. The season is not over with. Again, we lost that game. Game that, again, I thought we would have capitalized on some plays. It would have been a much different game. Not saying we would have won it, but again, I thought the score would have been much better than what it showed. So again, my point to them always, through these peaks and valleys, which we're going to have in football, stay together as a team. And if we continue to do that, we're going to be okay. And they've been doing that. They showed it against Texas Southern. They showed it against Alcorn. Unfortunately, the outcome wasn't what we wanted in last week. But again, long season, so they got to stay together. They got to get back, ready to go, prepare themselves, get ready for a good team coming in.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach McDowell, as always, we sincerely appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We'll now go to Southern University. Head coach Dooley. I do see that we have Coach with us. Coach Dooley, as always, sir, we sincerely appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to join us. If you could please start us out with an opening statement, recapping your team's most recent road victory at Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Yes, good morning. Had to take a visit down to Pine Bluff. I knew Coach Hamp has been having some close ball games. I know the team was going to be prepared to play, and it was going to be a tough outing. It has always been going against Pine Bluff, but you know, fortunate enough, we got some things. We got off to a bad start, but didn't get off track. Just continued to go. Our defense kind of carried us a little bit, where the offense got on track and was able to put a couple of points up on the board, but still was a hard-fought contest to the end. I commend my guys on just staying the course and understanding what a 60-minute ball game. Have we played it yet? Not quite yet, but you know, when you talk about the conference, you're going to have to compete for 60 minutes, and we understand that. Fortunate enough, we made more plays than what they did and came out with the victory.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Keisha.
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
I'm sorry, it's afternoon. I'm in Atlanta, so it's afternoon on my side.
Yes.
So, Coach, okay, so you talked about playing a complete ball game, talk about 60 minutes. Coming up this week, you have a tough opponent in FAMU, and we know how the atmosphere is in Bragg Stadium. What do you think the players are thinking, and what is the atmosphere going to be like on the Bluff, and how are you preparing to make sure you execute all 60 minutes to win that game?
Well, I tell you what, I do know it's going to be a great game day atmosphere. There's no question about it. I witnessed both ways on the same sideline and on the opposite sideline. So I know that Jaguar Nation will be out here looking for a good opponent to come in. You know, when things take place like that, a team coming in that's playing at a high level right there, the fans want to come and see a good football game. Now, it's just up to us to go out and do the things that Southern University can do. And I think we just got to continue to execute at a high level. When I look at the team, I gauge the team in a different way. You know, I do understand comments and concerns, but as we prepared, we're preparing our team for a hard-fought contest, and we're ready for to go 60 minutes, and we're going to always accept the challenge.
All right, and follow-up question, Coach, are there any things that you have looked at in FAMU that concerns you in their team?
Yeah, their football team. They got a good football team. No, but they're playing some good football right now. When you take a look at it, it's kind of, you know, it's just so strange. The teams are almost identical when you talk about they got a strong defense, but I do know that the offense is very, very explosive. Just got to tweak some things here and there, and Coach Simmons will have those guys going. You know, as he mentioned earlier, I mean, Coach Simmons and I don't want to put no age on it, but we've been going against each other for a long time. And it's just friendly competition, and we love to compete at a high level. And at the end of the day, we know both teams will be prepared to play.
Thanks. Good luck, Coach.
Thanks.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Congratulations, Coach, on the victory in Arkansas.
Thank you.
And your offense almost compiled 500 yards of total offense in Arkansas. Talk about what the difference was between that game and other games this season.
Well, you know, I always equate things to a lot of times, you know, Jesus took 7 days, but, you know, some people want us to do it in one game. So as the game continued to go on, we just continue to create that chemistry. The world wasn't built in 7 days, so we understand that. We understand what we have to do to get better. Our goal is to get better each day to get 1 day better. And I think that's what the team is doing. Are we there yet? And I can tell you in my eyes, it's going to be real tough to get there, but we are working. We're on the right road to becoming a complete football team. And we just got to continue to build that chemistry and gel together as a team and continue to fight and play hard.
And you spoke about the familiarity with Coach Simmons. What's one thing schematically that you can expect from a Coach Simmons coached football team?
Well, they're going to be disciplined and they're going to be well coached and fundamentally sound. You know, you look at some things take place, and this here could take place or that can take place. But I think they're going to be fundamentally sound. He's a good football coach, and it shows with his record and the teams that he have had in the past. So we understand that it's not about the scheme of being trying to scheme the one. It's just about being prepared and playing for 60 minutes. And you just got to be able to make one more play than they make to have the right results that you're looking for.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck Saturday.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Dooley.
Good morning, Doc.
Had a great deal of success on both sides of the ball against Pine Bluff, pitching a shutout by your defense. Offense got going. Was able to get the balance between throwing the ball and running the ball. Talk a little about what went on during the bye week to kind of get things moving in this direction.
Well, just as I said, when we had that open date, it was to work on Southern University. It's never about another opponent, although we got a lot of great opponents that we're going to face. It's about fixing the things, and I like to say scratch where it itched for us. We had to scratch some places where it was itching at to get us to become a better football team. Have we completed all that whole project? Not yet. We're still working. It's a work in progress. But I commend the guys on having the mindset and the attitude of what needed to be done and just going out and getting the job done.
I know about scratching where it itches. I told him you better grab a bottle of lotion. With that being said, Coach, get into this big matchup what everybody really wants to talk about. This top 10 match. This is the reason why we cover the games in a lot of ways. This is why I'm sure you coach, why the players. Two perennial programs, now it's a conference race, divisions come together, both teams leading in divisions, undefeated in play. What all that means, we're going to hype it up. How do you keep your team level in terms of focusing on what's important, which is the game plan to get it done, besides what we're going to talk about week and why people should watch this game?
And it's kind of hard when you talk about this day and time right now, social media where that is media outlet right there, just fortunate
right.
I'm not one of those guys that I don't know what goes on social media. Someone have to tell me, but just the mindset of letting these guys know, I talk to those guys and every outsiders, when they hear me say win, I'm not talking about win. I just want the acronym of win. What's important now? What's important right now? Us getting ready on this Monday. What we have to do this Monday right here, just continuing our daily thing. It's not a big game, but it's only a big game for us because it's the next game. And we got to approach it that way right there. We know that we got a good football team coming in here. Anybody that we play within this conference, I feel is a good football team. So our mindset is to stay focused, understand the tactics that are at hand right now for us. And that's just to get better each time we get out on that football field, to take care of what we can take care of and control what we can control. And that's what's important now, getting ready for a great family football team that's going to come in here.
Coach, don't worry about the social media. We'll handle it. We'll get out there and we'll start talking about whoever wins this game may be hosting the championship. Don't worry about that. Let's do our thing.
Yes, sir.
Take care, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Forward to the matchup. Good luck this week.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Last question goes to Henry Pugh.
Good morning, Coach Dooley. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
All right. Congratulations on this past weekend. I want to focus on the offensive side. You in the summer added Gary Quarles from Alabama A&M, and it looks like he had a pretty big day. Can you tell us what he's added to your running back room that was already loaded?
Right. Well, when you have a pretty good room, and to add someone else, that guy has to be able to play. In your mind, has to be special. Bring something, a different ingredient to the room. But when you talk about this young man, the other guys in that room have the same type talent that he has, but what he does have is experience. You're talking about a guy that's a fifth-year senior, that's a graduate student, that's been in the conference for a long time, that's been an all-conference running back, that has rushed for 1,000 yards. So when you bring a guy like that, you talk about the maturity part of it, that understand how to win and what it takes to win. So just the experience more than the talent. You know, everybody think, well, he was a great running back. That's why you won't know this. Just the mindset that he has, how he approaches. He approaches like he's a professional. And when you do those kind of things get contagious and it kind of rubs off. And I think he's done a great job. He's not very vocal, but in the last couple of weeks he has been. And that's where we brought leadership, you know, and experience. So he has a great deal to our room.
And Coach, to piggyback off of that, you talk about leadership. Harold Blood, he's been able to maneuver the season and seems like to improve week in and week out. This past weekend, he threw for 90%, 18 to 20, 225. What is he, or how have you seen him grown throughout this season?
Well, you know, he's getting seasoned. You know, he came in, hadn't really played multiple games. Guys hadn't had any film on him. So, you know, things take place, but the young man is a guy that understands it. And he understands that room. You know, I heard Coach Simmons talk about that quarterback room. It can get very, very brutal at times, but you got to be tough. You got to have tough skin. I'm another one. I tell everybody, they talked about Jesus. Who am I? So it doesn't bother me. So we just continue to go. I think he's strong-minded. He understands what it takes. He understands that position. And then you have a great coach when you talk about a Willie Totten. That, I mean, how can you not mention his name when you talk about the quarterback room? So we got someone that's mentoring him, doing a great job with him. And the young man just continue to grow because he's seeking that knowledge. He's like a sponge. He want to take that knowledge in, and then he's just a student of the game.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach Dooley, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Now go to Texas Southern. Head Coach McKinney. You see that we have Coach there with us. Coach McKinney, as always, thank you so much, sir, for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's big homecoming win over Lincoln.
Yeah, big win for us. Got our first win of the season this past weekend on our homecoming versus Lincoln University out of California. Thought our guys played a complete game, although it wasn't a perfect game, but we were a lot more consistent, both offensively, defensively, and in the kicking game. Played a lot of people. Got a chance to get some guys on video that we hadn't had an opportunity to put in the game early in the season. So those guys came and played hard and put forth great effort, and we were fortunate enough to come away with the win.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach McKinney.
Good morning, Doc.
Congratulations on the win. I want to talk a little bit about some running backs here that really jumped off the sheet and got it done. Ladarius Owens, 13, 139, got in the end zone, and Ja'Cory Howard, 10 carries, 94 yards, and got in there 3 times. Talk about what they bring to the table and each of them and the dynamics that they bring to the table.
Yeah, they're 2 totally different styles of running backs. Corey's a bigger, more powerful runner. Ladarius is the lightning version of lightning and thunder. But those guys have a tremendous amount of experience. They've been with me since my first recruiting class. We trust them. They're great leaders. They work extremely hard. And then they know what to do with the ball when they got the ball in their hands. They're fighting for tough yards. Ladarius brings the element of being an all-purpose back, where Ja'Cory is more of a power back, a short yardage guy, a goal line. So you'll see Ja'Cory probably have more touchdowns, where Ladarius will have more rushing yards.
With that being said, you go into your open week. It's been arduous schedule thus far in terms of some tough matchups. You talk about, I imagine some of this is going to be about heat a little bit, but besides that, or if that, you talk about a little bit of what your plans are for this open week.
Going into the bye week?
Yes.
Yeah, I go for our bye week is one is to get healthy. You know, we played a tough schedule these first few games. We want to, get back as healthy as possible. But two, we need to work on some things. We need to work on us, become better tacklers, understanding the scheme a little better, and be able to execute better with what we're trying to do, as opposed to preparing for an opponent. We need to improve TSU football.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the following week, Matt, as you get on the road to Bethune-Cookman and Daytona Beach. Thanks.
Thank you, Doc.
Next question goes to Kyle Mosley.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good. How's it going, Kyle?
Good, good. Jace was 14 of 23, and then you have Jordan Davis. He was 2 of 3, and he had a touchdown pass. As far as your quarterbacks are concerned, I know you have an extra week to be able to prepare going into the following game. How do you feel after the announcement with Andrew redshirting? How did they respond, and how do you feel about them going forward?
Well, they've responded well. Jace has stepped in for Andrew since week 2, and he's trying to find his way or make the team his, per se. And he's out there doing what he started doing what a backup quarterback should be doing, and taking over and maintaining a certain level of play. But he's slowly making the team his. He was 14 for 23, I believe, with about 4 drops. And so he could have easily had a higher completion percentage in the game this past weekend. But he doesn't quite have the experience that we'd like. But that's why you play games. And so as long as he continues to improve and our O-line continues to protect him, we feel good about our quarterback situation.
Okay, and talk about those drops. I know a couple of weeks ago you told me that was a concern from your receiving group. How do you correct that going into the bye week?
Yeah, it's just something that we got to focus on. Got to work a little bit harder at. Just concentration and squeezing that ball when we get our opportunities and tucking it and putting it away. You got to have pride in being a pass catcher, and so guys got to work at it, and we're about to get after it here today and the rest of this week, and that's one of the things that we have to improve upon.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Henry Pugh.
Good morning, Coach. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well, Coach. On Thursday evening, we received the news from Andrew about him being out for the remainder of the season. With that being said, is he still around the program as far as helping with the other quarterbacks and stuff, or is it kind of he has to be away with the health issue?
No, he's definitely around. He's a part of the team. He's in every meeting. He's at every practice. He's just following his doctor's orders, and he was voted team captain, so he's been every bit of the team captain, and he's been a leader with the quarterbacks and coaching them up and showing them things that he sees when he's out there, and things, just giving them tips as he should. And so yeah, Andrew's been very much a part of the program.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach McKinney, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Now go to Jackson State. Head Coach Taylor. Coach Taylor, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule, to join us. Coach,
how y'all doing?
Doing pretty good, Coach. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Coach, if you could just start us out with an opening statement.
Enjoyed the bye week. We got some good work in those on last week as a program. Going into the weekend, gave the guys a couple of days off to get some rest. So We are in a good spot right now. Looking forward to this week against Alabama A&M, the Gulf Coast Classic. So we back at it. Came in on yesterday and had a solid practice. Just getting guys back on their feet, moving around at a high tempo. So I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach Taylor. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
How you doing, Coach?
Hey, what's going on, Chuck?
I want to ask this question. You're obviously familiar with Quincy Casey, and it looks as though he's seemingly kind of turned the corner as a passer the past couple of weeks. But what has been your evaluation of how he's looked thus far this season?
He's looked settled. He looked settled in the offense. Him transferring in there, it took him some time to settle in and get on the same page with the coaches there, the coordinator there. But he looks settled in as a quarterback, making good decisions with the football. I think he does a good job of aligning the people around him to make him look good as well, putting the ball in the correct spots. But very good quarterback, very good quarterback. We know we got to be on our A game when defending him this weekend.
Sure thing. Quick follow-up, and I know a lot of times we ask questions in terms of what did you do on your bye week, but first time as head coach mentally, I mean, was there any sort of a downtime for yourself during the bye week?
Oh, definitely. Definitely I got with the family a little bit, hung out with them, able to catch up with my kids, my wife and everything. So it was good. And also too, to just get some rest, to get some rest a little bit. We worked hard Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of last week, and gave the players, some coaches some off time, going into that weekend. But it was good for us, with everything that went on the first half of this season. But, around about Saturday evening, I started getting that itch again. I was ready to get back to some football. Watched a lot of football, did a lot of recruiting too as well. A great time for us to get ahead in the recruiting game as well.
Sure thing. Appreciate that, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
Question goes to Henry Pugh.
Hey, good morning, Coach. And I verified the time. It is still morning. So good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing good, Coach. Alabama A&M comes in this game extremely balanced, passing and running the ball. How have you guys planned to, I guess, take on that attack, not being able to, I guess you can say, single out one side to the other?
We just got to be where we're supposed to be on the football field as a defense, and play hard with great effort. I want to get 11 hats to the football. Dwayne Taylor, their offensive coordinator, does a great job over there. He's been doing a great job as a coordinator, over the years, good offensive staff over there. But we got to be where we're supposed to be on defense, do our job, get 11 hats to the ball, and, allow our athletes to make plays.
All right, Coach. And lastly, I want to ask you about your special teams. I know you had a few kickers that were banged up and a punter as well. Where you guys sit as far as health-wise of those gentlemen?
Hopefully we get some guys back this week. I'll get with the training staff some more on today. We met briefly on yesterday about some guys and, just trying to get them upright and get them through the games, get healthy, continue treatment with those guys, and hopefully we can get them back on the field. It was a thorn in our side against the Bethune game when you don't have any kind of kicking game whatsoever. We're going for 2 points. Didn't have a kickoff person really out there that had been, was able to get some true work. So, we'll try to get those guys back on their feet and get going this week.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
No problem. Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
It's Kenyatta Cavill. Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Here on the cusp of it. So good morning, good afternoon, whichever one you want to take. Right at it. Cool. Just wanted to say, it's amazing when you think about the coaching life. Fascinating to say that you got a chance to spend some time with your kids. We take it for granted. So thanks for doing what you do. With that being said, let's get into this action. It's a big matchup in the East. In terms of the seeding, obviously, you still want to focus on ability to stay in the race. And to do that, it's better to do it from a wins perspective also. Yeah. A lot of that we'll talk about from a media perspective, but focus on Alabama A&M's Bulldogs. Obviously, you talked about their offense, but what about defense? How do you look at what they do on defense and what ways they attack?
They got some big guys on the defensive line on the inside up, and they're 2 big D tackles that play well for them. second level, third level of the defense really flies around, and they do a good job of getting turnovers. You know, we've been emphasizing that we got to protect the football against a group like this and not give their offense too many opportunities on the field. But we just got to be better on the little things, like third down, red zone. We get those opportunities to extend drives and score points. But just definitely don't want to turn the football over. Go out there and execute, and don't put too much on our offensive guys' plate, and allow these guys to make plays going into this weekend.
Neutral site game in terms of conference game. What is your overall thoughts about playing neutral site for a conference game?
I ain't gonna say what I'm thinking, but it is what it is. It's a conference game for us. Give me another season, then I'll let you know. But nah, yeah,
Let me ask you more.
Played last year. Say it again, Doc. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Follow up. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Interrupt.
But no, it was a great atmosphere on last year. We got over there, Gulf Coast Classic. Mobile did a great job of laying out the red carpet with the banquet, everything when we pulled up there. The thing that was pleasing too, also a great turnout. Jackson State really showed up in that game on last year, and we're expecting the same things this year. But regardless for us, again, it's the next one on the schedule. Like you said, an Eastern Division opponent. So we got to be ready to play and, put all the other stuff to the side. Like I always say with those classics, the pageantry and stuff is really not for us. It's up to us to go out here and execute and, be the best football team on the football field that day.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the matchup.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Doc. Thank you.
Next question goes to Jay Keith.
Hey, Coach, it's JT. Can you had another week with Leonie Armenta. Can you talk about her progress and if you plan on maybe using her again?
We'll see how she does this week. She's I think the week before she didn't have like a couple of days of work going into that game. So that's why we didn't really use her that much. I think a lot of people thought it was her kicking throughout the game, but she only had that one opening kickoff, and the rest was a running back kid that we plugged in, to do the rest of it. So we'll see how does this week for us. We'll continue to evaluate her, and if she's good to go, we'll put her out there and see what she can do.
Coach, did you realize that follow-up question? Did you realize that you were making history and she made history as the first SWAC, female SWAC kicker and HBCU kicker? I mean, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I did. I did. Like, I'm the type of person, whoever can help us go out here and win football games, I'm going to put that person in the right position to help us. But I kind of figured, there was some history we were making there. But it was a great opportunity for her to come out and, help this football team. And then at the same time, vice versa, we were very proud of her, what she came out and did in that game.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Kyle Mosley.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Talk about your defense and how they have been evolving over the past few weeks and going into a challenge against Alabama A&M.
Defense has been playing very good. Coming off of that Texas State game, I really challenged them, pushed the coaches on that side of the football and those players to come out a couple weekends ago and play well at home, and they answered the bell, with turnovers, scoring touchdowns, and, able to generate a safety. So I'm very pleased where we are with the defense. We got getting some bodies back off the injury report too as well. Week in, week out, that's been a plus for us. And now they're able to gel. The guys that started out in training camp, all those guys are out there together as one. We're getting some depth back. So I feel real good where we are defensively right now going forward.
Okay. And last question, Irv Mulligan. Again, I just think the world of what he's been doing for your program. Talk about him as well as the other running backs and how they bring balance to the offense.
Oh, man, they've been doing a spectacular job since game one. You talk about Irv Mulligan. I mean, he runs behind his pads. He runs with violence, and just approaches the game, the right way. You watch him in practice, I mean, it's just like he's playing the game. We have to dial him down a lot of times as well. And then I think what had happened was it got contagious to those other backs. You know, those other backs, seeing him coming out there and working the way he does, running with that violence, catching balls out the backfield, and just not complaining about, you know, reps here or there. He just was doing whatever we asked, and I think it got contagious, and those other guys, you know, really found a way to step up.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Coach Taylor, as always, we sincerely appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right. Thank you, guys. Everybody be safe.
Thank you.
All right.
This concludes our SWAC football head coaches media session for Monday, October 2nd. We will get this audio and video recording process. We'll send it out to all of our media participants on this Zoom session and on our distribution list. If you would like to be added, please email a.roberts@swac.org. And we thank you so much for joining. Have a great week.
Thank you, Andrew. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Appreciate it.